Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Bermuda National Athletics Association is pleased to announce, in conjunction with Swan's Running Club, Bermuda's first race walking seminar and clinic. I will hand you over to Mr. Brenton Roberts, who was the visionary of this race walking, bringing it to Bermuda, and I'll let him give you more detail.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'm not the visionary. The person who actually brought me out of retirement is the gentleman that's sitting all the way over to the left there, Sinclair Smith, who is an avid walker in Bermuda, as most of you know, and is one of the few, in fact, one of two coaches that we have that teach race walking in Bermuda. So he brought me out of retirement in terms of talking with him every day. We meet at the gym, we work out at the gym, and I was inspired by his passion for race walking in Bermuda, and as a consequence of which we made a presentation to, first of all, this has been going on since April of this year. We made a presentation to a general body that included some of the people that are on the table here this afternoon. And then we made a presentation to Swan's Running Club. And then we made a presentation to BINA. And BINA, as you know, is the governing body of athletics. Not only athletics, but it also race walking, which is a part of the athletic program. Internationally, the IAAF, the International Amateur Athletic Federation, is the ultimate responsible world organization for race walking, and therefore it is appropriate that it comes under BINA, the Bermuda National Athletics Association, for its governance here in Bermuda. I knew that, and that's why we presented to BINA to get their blessing before we move forward. We were fortunate in making contact with our neighbors to the north, in particular United States, where we were put in contact with people who assisted us in putting together this package that you have before you, and the package to which I will describe in a minute or so. First of all, I want to give recognition to the people that I've worked with. This is not a lone battle. I want to recognize the visionary, Mr. Sinclair Smith, and he is with Swan's Running Club. He came in, and the Swan's Running, and when we presented to Swan's Running Club some 3 years ago, they adopted a race walking section to their program, and so therefore he was he is the actual visionary behind this whole thing. Troy Douglas was appointed representing BINA. He, as you know, he's the national coach of track and field in Bermuda, of athletics in Bermuda, going back to my earlier days. Keith Smith from Swan's Running Club is also a member of this committee. Mike Watson, representing BINA, is also a member of this committee. Ian Rollins was our marketing and PR representative. D'Amico Watson is a young Bermudian college student attending Savannah College of Art and Design, and we got him to design this wonderful poster that you see behind you. He is responsible for that. He's back in school now, but I do want to recognize his contribution to that. Manny Ferrer, over here, who was representing the Ministry of Education, who took a hold of this from the time we first presented it to the wider body, and he said himself that he wanted to introduce this to schools in 2015. And Maria Dixon, our able secretary, who has done yeoman's work in assisting in putting this together. And I want to thank each and every one of them for their contributions. And Andre Rochester is here representing Swan's Running Club in place of their president today. And we want to thank Swan's Running Club for the support that they have given to this initiative. Now to the program. As Ms. Watson said, we are introducing a race walking seminar. We felt we needed to start at this point because there are so many different concepts of walking, race walking, that we felt that we needed to be assured that those multitudes of people who are out here walking in our community would benefit, as well as the coaches and officials. So this will have two parts to it. The first part will take place on the Friday night, November the 28th, which embraces all people who walk in Bermuda. If you need to get information about your fitness levels and how you upgrade that, Mr. Smith will speak to that when I finish. And we would encourage you to register for that first night. We can take 100 people. It's going to be held at the Bermuda College. And we are very grateful for their support as well. They are sponsors of this, co-sponsors of this. That program addresses all of the questions that you might have concerning race walking, particularly technique, footwear, injuries, fitness levels, and all of that sort of thing, nutrition. Jeff, the people that we're bringing in will address that on the Friday night. We insisted that there must be a general session where everybody who is a fitness enthusiast in Bermuda who are out there walking could get general information. That's the first component. The second component is actually the seminar itself, seminar and clinic, which is both a hands-on, theoretical, as well as practical introduction of the sport to Bermuda. This is a restricted number of entries of people that can do that. Of course, it will be, 35 people that we will accommodate here. And here we're talking about coaches, number one, who will have the first priority. And in this regard, Mr. Ferreira will speak to you about the teachers, the PE teachers who have registered for this component. And our appeal will be officials, because without officials, the sport can't go forward. We need people who will officiate the sport as we go forward with the actual events here in Bermuda. So that component, which takes place on Saturday and Sunday, it's a 16-hour seminar, 9 to 5 both days, Saturday and Sunday, in order to achieve the certification we require of both coaches and officials. That will also take place at the Bermuda College in one of the lecture halls that they have there. And we are grateful again for that support. So that is the essence of how we look to go forward with this particular program, by first giving general information to the general public, the general walking public that are out there, and then secondly to train additional coaches and support staff for what needs to be done to make that sport relevant and sustainable here in Bermuda. At this time, I'd like to call for the visionary, Mr. Sinclair Smith, to talk generally about what we're trying to achieve here from a coach's perspective, and then we'll hear from Mr. Ferrer from the Bermuda's Ministry of Education. Mr. Smith.
Thanks very much, Mr. Roberts. Let's go back to the beginning. Walking in general. There's many people out here walking, and when you mention the word race walking, they get sort of timid. I can't do that. Okay, if you're doing 20-minute miles, that's fine. That's okay. But technique is important. You must learn the technique. If you're doing 20-minute miles, that's okay. But you can get out of walking only what you put into it. You can intensify it. You can take it from 20 minutes, you can take it down to 12-minute miles. Or you may take it down to 10-minute miles. Our top race walker is 6-minute miles. No way, I'm going to get there. No way. that ain't going to work. So I see many people out there walking, but it's okay, but they're lacking technique. So if you come to the seminar, you learn how to use your technique, the arms along with your legs. You don't have to race. Whatever you're doing is fine. When you get comfortable, then you may want to take it a little further. But most important is consistency. You must do it consistent to get the benefits. If you're trying to lose weight, you got to watch your intake and do it consistent. It's not to frighten you off from, when you see us out there doing race walk, oh, I can't do that. That's okay, that's fine. But you take yourself to the level where you want to take it. Proper footwear is important. walking is a lifetime thing. You can do it for life, and this is where we're expecting Bermuda to come on board and take walking very seriously and take it to another level. The 6-minute miles, we're looking at the schools, with the youth in the schools, may not come be 100-meter runners, they could do the 6-minute miles. Something else for them to work on.
Good afternoon. We at the Ministry of Education and as well Bermuda School Sports Federation. We're happy to partner with BNR and Swans Running Club and the initiative taking place. We understand not everyone is going to be long distance runners, not even middle distance runners. Many of the schools now have running clubs, and so we're trying to get as many teachers as we can on board with the coaching aspect, so they can start clubs in their schools and get all of their kids active. Even if they're not runners, at least we get them walking and different steps there. Also, we've always been determined to introduce our kids to as many different sports as we can. This is another venue, another sport that we could bring into our programs, and hopefully within a year or two we can introduce not necessarily a 10K, but a shorter version of race walking into our track and field championships, and get more kids involved who, again, might necessarily be 1,500, 3,000 meter runners. Again, we're trying to get as many teachers as we can involved. Hopefully, I know a certain allocation of spots were reserved for them. We're hoping to fill them up, and hopefully not only will you see race walkers on the weekends, but you'll see our school kids out there competing in race walking as well. Thank you.
Manny, I'd like to, the only club that I know of that has a race walking component to it, as I said earlier, is Swans Running Club. And perhaps Mr. Rochester would like to step forward and say a few things on behalf of Swans Running Club before I go into the details of the presenters.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the president of Swans Running Club, I'd like to say that when Sinclair came to us, we gladly took this with open arms, and we decided that we're going to take this to Swans Running Club to another level, and making sure that we get our kids and ourselves as grown-ups on a fitness level so that we can ensure that we are able to compete in all walks of level of competition as far as athletics is concerned. And we're here to support Pina as well as all the teachers and them, whoever it may be that wants to do race walking, running, whatever it can be. Thank you.
Obviously, as part of Pina's mandate, this goes right into it, but can we see race walking introduced into national championships and other track meets of the night?
Yes, as Manny stated, once we get race walking into the school system, then we can start introducing race walking events into our national championships. You may or may not know at the CAC level, I know Mexico, a lot of the Spanish-speaking countries have tons of race walkers. So when we attend CAC championships, CAC games, they have race walking competitions. So it would be great for us if we can be taking with our team some race walkers. So hopefully out of this process, we do find some athletes that are gifted at race walking. One thing that Mr. Roberts did mention, because I know I've watched several race walking competitions at an international level, and it takes a lot of officials with race walkers. You have to have officials all along the course checking that the walkers are walking how they're supposed to be, that their heel is hitting the road how it's supposed to be, and so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that Bermuda embraces this and comes out and assists, because as I said, a sport like race walking takes on a lot of officials. But hopefully we can see some race walkers develop, and when maybe not 2016 Olympics, but maybe the next Olympics, we may be sending a couple of race walkers to compete for Bermuda. That will be fantastic for us as a small country of Bermuda.
I've seen you compete on numerous occasions, and there's been times when I've seen you kind of shaking your head as if somebody beside you, behind you, in front of you appears to be bending the rules a little bit. Is this an opportunity to get people, spotters as well, to identify these things, and then what are you hoping ultimately comes out of it?
Well, it's true what you're saying. Sometimes, about their walking according to the rules, and then you see someone doing a little bit of cheating. You just have to smile, shake your head.
Yeah.
But with all of my competitive walkers, we are on the same wavelength of very serious about what we do. And what I'm hoping to come out of this is that we get sufficient spotters that can call these individuals out. Look, hey, that's not the way to go. But most importantly, is that if they will come out and train with us to learning technique correctly, even come to the seminar and listen to what these guys have to say of how the technique goes. This could be hands-on the Saturday, Sunday, and learn the technique correctly, and then we'll be on the right track.
Do you think you should start slowly and maybe try to incorporate within a track meet so it stays enclosed and you can get people trained in an enclosed environment as opposed to being out on the road and having to have so many different people in different spots?
Yes, that's correct. We will start at one of the schools, at the stadium, or at our Tatum School, and look at the kids closely, look at the people closely, make sure they're doing it correctly, and even with the people who are judging, make sure they know how to do things correctly.
Let me respond to that. Mr. Smith teaches 3 classes per week: Saturday mornings, Tuesday nights,
Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Tuesday and Thursday nights
At Swans Running Club.
at Swans Running Club, and Saturday mornings at the Athletic Club. He teaches appropriate race walking technique.
Yeah.
So obviously, not only does he know, but he also knows those who don't have the technique. And he's been very diplomatic, and that's what he should be as a coach. He's trying to raise the level of all people in Bermuda. You don't have to be a competitive walker, as he said from the beginning. Yeah. What he wants to see is people raise their personal level so that they can achieve the fitness levels and the fitness goals they have set in mind. With our school children, obviously, we're looking to be for another level of competitiveness. And as Ms. Watson said, the BINA is looking to produce persons. I just want to should make the other point too, that the race walking takes place now in the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games, the Pan American Games, the Central American, and Caribbean Games. There's no reason why Bermuda should not have representatives there. And if Mr. Douglas were here, the national coach, he would say to you that that's what he's hoping, that many people, some people can't run that well, who may walk extremely well. And Jeff Salvage, who I talked about, said the same thing to me. He said many people who are out here running now, and also the injury related, what we're saying is that many people in the United States are converting from running to race walking as a result of injuries and so on and so forth. I can be a testimony to that. I have some knee problems now, but I find that race walking I can do without the problems I had when I was running. And that's what Jeff has said. So you can transition. What is also interesting is the competitive range of race walkers across the world. 17 years of age is the youngest, and 49 years of age is the oldest. And they are competitive. They're walking, as Mr. Smith said, under 6-minute miles. There's opportunities for people of all levels to enjoy this experience. But I want to stress, those persons that are out here walking, we want to be there on the Friday night. We have limited, and maybe this is the time we talk about how you register. Mm-hmm. You can register online at raceworld.com, and that's for the Friday night. Raceworld.com is the Race Day World. Thank you, Mrs. Watson. RaceDayWorld.com will give you access to the registration for the general body on the Friday night. However, for those of you who want to be officials and or coaches, you have a register right here at BINA headquarters on what's that, Cedar Avenue? Mm-hmm. Cedar Avenue, right next to the BFA office on Cedar Avenue. You'll need to register there because we have to keep control of the 35 people that we can take for the actual seminar. So they will need to register here. The only rider we have is that you have to give 1 year back to the sport in whatever capacity. Whether you're a coach or official, give us 1 year, give Bina 1 year back in terms of service to the sport post certification.